a little bit of time with
know?
you gentlemen on this desk, so plausible sounds good.
I really think it comes down to, as talked about in the space as well, the priorities when it comes to draft. I think put BDD in more of a carry position, and I think it will do a lot of favors. As I said, the draft felt more akin to how HLE have kind of been playing with, you know, Zayas is a major piece in how they want to carry, and with Peanut more of a facilitator. I think you really have been winning as KT because of your mid jungle, and I think the draft really didn't set up for that. So we'll see what they go for this time round. We have had a little bit of a change up when it comes to bans. This time around, going for the Vi instead of the Galio from KT to start things off.
I think it's a Trundle first pick angle. How are you feeling about that one, Chronicler?
Objection, that's a leading question. You know my opinions on this matter, so I'm not going to answer.
Okay, Your Honor.
Actually, you should only ask questions you know the answer to when you're doing a deposition, isn't that true?
Yeah, but it's the way that the question is phrased.
I love this. I'm learning about lore and things like that as well.
Also, why are you butting in?
She might be having a rough time.
Overruled.
Oh,
Nico
coming in.
Boys.
Peter, definitely, I think our best Nico that we have in the LCK at the moment, able to always have an impact on this pick, uses the stealth exception
And Maritz,
well.
how do you feel about Nico?
I love Nico, and I think Peter does very well on this champion.
Our ARAM games beg to differ.
Oh, that's what we're referring to?
No, I was referring to the fact you keep complaining about the Nico stun combo with the rocket belt.
I do still think that that is obnoxious, but I, unlike you two, am able to put my personal grievances aside to try and cast a video game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, that sounds boring. Okay, Zin's out. Going to be locked in first here. And we'll see what Canyon is going to be taking for either Chovy or Keen is what I'm kind of expecting, unless they go for a ruler option. We have seen the pivot start earlier when it comes to locking in bot lane champions in the first round of picks as opposed to the second. They could be dabbling in something like that. We'll see where they do decide to go, as instead it will be just Zin Talia locked in. A lot of power.
Yeah, especially with a lot of the mid laners taken away, you know, with Azir and Ryze banned, with the fact that Ori, Annie have been taken away from Fearless. So they're definitely feeling really good to be able to pick her up in this situation and make it difficult for a lot of the follow-up from the Nico. If Nico wants to go in with Rocket Battle as well, it's a little bit dangerous. No surprise to see Cuz come in with a Trundle here, though, especially into the Xin Zhao. I feel like a big reason why he initially came into the meta was the matchup into the Xin Zhao specifically.
Yeah, this is completely fine. It's even good, I think, into Talia. The pillar is actually really annoying for her to deal with. She is one of those champions that really needs to be close to have an impact, but you also don't really have a built-in escape, so I like that setup.
It's not blind, and that's what we really like about this particular Trundle angle. Let's see what BDD is going to be locking away, as the Aurora has been hovered for now. That would be a flex. I feel like, you know, my warders are telling me it's likely going towards BDD, as now he's considering an Akali lock-in, and that will be picked up as we get the full zoom onto BDD's face. Man, he is not happy with how that that Annie game went.
I like BDD Akali. Akali Trundle, though, for me, as a 2v2 is not the best. I feel like they don't really work that well together. If this was a Xin Zhao for Cuz, or a Pantheon, anything of that sort, I'd be feeling a lot better. But like BDD really wanting to take it into his own hands.
Having the CC from the jungler, like something just to lock them in place for the Akali to connect with the Shuriken or with the ult can go such a long way, and you are kind of lacking that here with the Akali. And also the Akali into Talia. We have seen it do good before. I seem to remember the it was the rate composition where they would just go in through the rocks.
I was
themselves.
thinking, like, is this going to be the Dyson Akali again?
Yeah,
because we
just
just
all the
like
rocks.
just hoover it up.
Yeah. There will obviously be that unraveled ears, but if you approach from different angles, it can be powerful. We've mostly seen Akali picked into Orianna and that do well. But I guess here, KT are fully committing into, like, we're going to dive your backline and make it uncomfortable, which plays into the fact that they immediately ban away that Xayah, and they're trying to remove some of the safe tools away from Ruler.
Well, the Jhin going to be taken away. Speaking of a safe tool, able to follow up on a lot of the dive here from KT.
Lucian, maybe?
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a Lucian angle. The
I feel
Rakan,
yeah, Lucian Rakan is not.
Yeah, we have
the best
seen
lane.
it
It's
more
fine.
recently. It did not do well.
It does give Ruler agency, which is the big thing, trying to play into a lot of threat on the enemy team, but no, it's going to be the Gwen instead.
I think Gwen, especially if you're diving and the Gwen is just thriving in the chaos. Also, Gwen Xin Zhao has been really potent. Looks like the Civ is going to come through. The Spell Shield, a decent amount of value here. I do feel like the Pillar is a bit of a headache for the Sivir, though, who relies so much on that movement speed. And obviously the Spell Shield does really nothing against the Pillar.
Now, a lot of things for Dokdam to decide on. See where he does decide to land with the choice. This one, no surprise at all, as the Scion I was actually expecting to be banned at this portion of the draft. Perfect has been defaulting back to this champ very early in a lot of drafts so far these playoffs. Will be no surprise to see that one locked in as it does get taken away. And now Dokdam needs to make his decision.
I don't love Scion Akali though. That is to me the type of composition that if it falls flat, like KT is again going towards a 2-carry comp here, and Zeri and Akali both. Eventually Zeri gets great damage, but initially it's just burst. Same for Akali, so KT in the last game I think had a little bit more leeway. With this, I think they just need to start snowballing early. I don't think you can fall behind because I think this comp falls flat in its face.
I think they need the momentum, but I do think Zeri is the sort of pick that gives you that throughput in fights, that sort of carry over. If you get that initial kill, Zeri's momentum with her ultimate will help you clean up, which you definitely need. And Aatrox are going to come through, good matchup into the Scion, not too much a surprise then, especially if you're diving in and you have a lot of short-range picks. The value the Aatrox can get here is absolutely massive.
Who kills Aatrox? Like once he gets his items, that's going to be tough. I think KT's composition, they do have an incredibly strong like level 6 spike across the board. I think that the Nico, Akali, and Zeri angle I really like. But you gotta win the early game, because if you start falling behind against this composition and you're trying to 5v5 into Aatrox, into Sivir, into Rakan, I don't think it's gonna end
I feel like it's a situation where if they even slightly fall behind, they're just gonna get blended. Like you can just imagine the damage output, the AoE. You're diving in a couple of ricochets, a couple of sweet spots.
Some rocks.
You'll just get obliterated so quickly. So it needs to be a crisp game from KT, which against GENG is a hard ask.
Yeah, and it feels very similar to game number 1, right? GENG threats across the board, right? Keen, very difficult to deal with, as well as the fact that Chovy's on Talia. A lot of consistent damage in that mid lane, and you really can't talk about consistent damage without talking about Sivir. The ricochets are going to be doing so much work. And once again, you mentioned it already, 2-threat comp coming out from KT may not necessarily be enough. This time, though, BDD is on a playmaker, so maybe that can help them, and Cuz has a good matchup in the jungle. So if this Trundle can take over the game, and it is still like so much on the shoulders of Cuz and BDD, but that's a Wednesday for this team. Let's get onto the rift.
KT 하나 둘 셋. 젠지 하나 둘 셋.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Onto the rift for game number 2 is already Keen finding some value against Peter and Dokdam, but does have to flash. I did like the fact that he hit a couple of Qs, though. Just didn't really work out for him.
Good early pick up there to get that flash, and the fact that we're seeing the bot lane of KT up on the top side wonders if we are gonna... No, they are just swapping back to normal lanes in this situation, so happy just to have picked up the flash there from Keen and not gonna go for the Viper swap and stun Dokdam in the top side.
Could also be an angle for Cuz to go for a very early level 3 gank and just clear the top side, which Trundle really chews through. I think the bot side is where he's a little bit slower because there's a lot more multi-character camps. So we could see Cuz maybe look towards something, especially with the lethal tempo. I think he wants to brawl as much as possible, especially like that into the Xin Zhao, which, as you highlighted already, Ox, is that we saw the Trundle come in because he wins the 1v1 against the Xin Zhao. He's able to punish him when he goes in with the pillar, and he also makes him a lot squishier with the use of that subjugate.
Well, let's see how Peter's going to go on his iconic Nico pickup. I feel like this game, they have invested a lot. As far as like the fearless bucks that we do like to talk about, Peter winning on his Nico is going to be a very important one if KT do want to be able to take this series. And especially just to even things up, guarantee us at least 4 games in this best of 5. That would be fantastic. So far though, KT with some control of this bottom side. BDD is going to be using his health bar as a resource, as we do like to say. And Chovy is going to be doing his very best to remove all of that resource as best as possible. So far, working out just fine, as BDD already at half health. Has been able to pick up the majority of the minions though, so not feeling too bad.
I think ultimately this is how so many of their Akali matchups go, where you just kind of weathering the storm, getting beat down on, you go in Doran Shield, you go in second wind just to survive. But it's a big thing with the Nico in the bot lane and the fact that you're playing into Rakan. If you're able, especially, to dodge away from the Qs, the sustain that gives out, you can just harass so heavily. And why this pick has been so prevalent, so dominant for such a long time. Having that engaged pick who has the harass of a ranged support.
Want to highlight, by the way, that GENGs, you know, their win stat often look great because they're GENG. And they really have just been winning all year. Peter, though, 7-1.
Yeah, I was about to mention that because, like, you've got 6 and 9 for Cuz on the Trundle, 4 and 6 for Perfect on the Scion, illustrating that it has been a difficult season for this team. Then 7 and 1.
I feel like so much of the Legend group, we just saw Nico banned away from this team.
It was.
For good reason, because Peter has been absolutely amazing on it. Perfect will get knocked up momentarily here by Keen, having a good time, procs the Conqueror.
And Canyon was spotted on that ward in the river, so KT has full information of where the enemy jungler is, even though he didn't actually show up for a gank there.
BDD thinking about an aggressive move, but tangoing with Chovy right now, a little bit dangerous, especially with Canyon waiting in the wings. As you mentioned, was spotted on vision, so BDD going to be playing towards the bottom side of this lane you'd expect. As rocks getting thrown around, and it looks like everything is just fine for the moment. Down by about a wave is probably what you'd expect for the Akali in this matchup. Seismic Shove is going to catch him, though, as BDD takes a turret shot. Has to flash to get out of the way of Chovy. That was gorgeously played, predicting the shuriken backflip.
Two sides to every coin, you know, a great Seismic Shove from Chovy, but also BDD playing it way too close to the tower there. Ends up losing the flash there, trying to get a heavy trade on a Chovy. And the thing is, they both have TP. So I feel like it was just so much risk for so little reward going for that.
And the lane had been going really well, I think, all things considered for BDD. Again, your window starts at 6, and now not having the flash available to get on top of the Talia guaranteed is definitely rough, as we do see Sivir has been doing exceptionally well here during the playoffs. I think it was a 5-win streak, maybe 6, just consistently. And Sivir isn't very flashy, but she's just good. She's solid, right? You have a lot of damage, you have a decent amount of early game utility, and I've seen teams use that. There's also the fact that Keen's flash usage on level 1 has not been punished at all.
No. I think especially as well, since Baron is now a good amount later in the game, it's so hard to like convincingly get a lead against a Sivir.
Yeah.
You kind of need Baron to make a lot of headway against a pick with so much wave clear consistently. And as well, having the spell shield means you can't just force an engage onto the pick. So Sivirs are always likely to at least get to like that 3-item spike where she really comes online.
Well, we're seeing the Dragon being started here by KT. Very early one, as Jungle CS is very even. Seismic Shove does go wide, as BDD feeling a little less hypey in this lane for the moment. 5-point strike will connect there onto Chovy. And there is the Dragon going down. Hextech going to be the second one. So could be some doozy dragons as far as our soul is concerned. Hopefully not another ocean. As Chemtech, I think Gen G fans probably pretty happy about seeing that one with an Aatrox and a Xin Zhao on the map.
What's your problem with saltwater bodies, Max? Like, why didn't you like the ocean?
I just don't think Ocean Soul is very powerful in League of Legends. I do think that the ocean is pretty cool, though. And Chovy going to be flashing away from BDD here. Doesn't find the shuriken backflip for that reason, but hits level 6 and immediately goes in. Oh, Ruler might be in trouble here as well. Spell Shield going to be employed nicely.
You saw the respect there, and because it was Peter sent up like the clone into the lane, I feel like that's why Chovy reacted so immediately to the all-in attempt. And BDD commits the ult. That's all that was committed there to get the flash from Chovy. It's a pretty big reward. And now, obviously, BDD bid his flash earlier. It's going to be back up out of sync with Chovy's, and that's a window he can definitely punish.
Could be a really big in for KT when it comes to this grub fight that I'm sure is going to come through. Talia not having flash means that Perfect's a lot scarier, Cuz's Pillar is a lot scarier. Peter still has his flash available, and I think he should be at level 6 when we get to that fight. Is always a little bit tricky for supports, so we'll see if he actually hits it or not. Because I do think that the Nico obviously is really gated by having access to that big team fighting tool.
Yep. Left up now, as you can see, down pretty low as these ricochets are flying through thick and fast. You can see he's ahead by a little bit of farm though, so has been staying up in this lane quite nicely. BF sword in hand. And so honestly, things could be way worse here for KT. They have a 0 gold lead. I was about to say a slight gold lead. Now it's GENG that does have that, as we have waves ping-ponging back and forth. I think this next fight is going to tell us so much.
Because I do think they need to win, right? Like, oh, Duro?
Oh, yeah, actually taking a lot of damage here as the last turret shot comes through a little bit late. The train is making its way down, and Perfect will be able to pick up this wave outside of the range of the turret as well, so some freezing shenanigans could come on through as Cuz already starting off these grubs.
Yeah, I feel like GENG got baited a little bit by the fact that Peter was showing his Dockdown with low HP. They obviously knew it wasn't Dockdown because he wasn't using his Q, but oh, you see Canyon and Keen moving over for Cuz.
Yeah, good sidestep here from Cuz. Does get pulled back by the Infernal Chains, but puts down the kennel for Keen. BDD now into the Shroud, and they're looking to lock down 2 of these grubs. We'll see whether KT can actually do that, as they're waiting on this smite cooldown momentarily. Canyon moves on in. He should be able to get this second one, and we'll see whether GENG decide to stick around as Keen. Still at about 50% health, but he is Aatrox. Doesn't quite have the broken item yet, but does, of course, just have his passive.
Yeah, Cuz is going to have his smite sooner, so I think GENG knew they just had to kind of back away on that one, and I think KT feeling pretty confident they could set up for the fight there.
It's actually really nice for KT because they were a member down. Like, Perfect doesn't have his ult, doesn't have TP. And still GENG, even with an extra man advantage towards that top side, didn't feel comfortable. Kina got unchunked. I think he was also sitting on a good amount of gold. So probably didn't really feel like he wanted to go too ham in the fight there. That means that KT come out with a small advantage.
I think
a lot of
times we've seen teams, as long as they're getting the one grub to deny, they're kind of okay with not fully contesting when they don't need to.
Oh, BDD going in, does throw down the ulti here, doesn't hit the backflip, but now BDD underneath the turret, and it's Chovy that outplays it! Oh no, if that Shuriken had landed, he would have done it, but instead it's Chovy walking away victorious.
I feel like it's one of these situations where he didn't have to commit. After the Shuriken missed, he could have just walked away and said, okay, you know, I forced him out of lane, I still have my flash.
I was honestly expecting it, and then he went back in.
Then he fully committed.
Oh, Peter looking for the Pop Blossom, doesn't get it on the rule of the spell shield's fantastic. Does still manage to land the Tangle Bobs, though, is now Dockdom going aggro towards Duro here. He flashes away, but the slow connects onto Ruler. Great sidestep from Peter there, as well as it's now Duro in trouble, and Dockdom picks up the kill. The sidesteps were pretty nice, but not enough.
And this is just the power of the level 6 from the Zeri. That being said,
that's coming in.
Yeah, teleport to come on through here as they're looking to try and turn it, standing their ground as they maybe shouldn't have. Flash out there from Dockdom is now BDD going aggro once again. Sliding over the wall though, Jet Set Radio future style is Dockdom, and he is able to get himself to safety.
Meanwhile, in top lane,
yes.
They're not doing a lot.
Let's see how this one actually went.
It's kind of feels to me like a repeat of last time. Like, he wants to go for it because he doesn't have flash. Chovy doesn't. But Chovy was already walking backwards.
BDD was kind of crazy.
Exactly. Because he knows if he gets that kill, even if you trade 1-for-1, if you get a kill as a Kali, you're happy to take that. As we take a look at this topside play.
It was actually great timing, the ult from Dockdom. It would have meant the Pop Blossom would have connected. But Ruler sees that and flashes away, so it doesn't get knocked up. But it's just kind of showing the power of the ultimate combo from this Nico and Zeri really needs to be respected in the 2v2. Now look at this team fight.
Yeah, Dragon's going to be equalized here as pay attention please, Orcs. Interruption on the Weave as well, fantastic. There's Chovy down very low once again, has to use that flash immediately as soon as it comes back off cooldown. This game's still exceptionally close, but GENG slowing down that Dragon stacking.
I'm worried though for KT. I think they need a breakout fight. It can be Otacon, it can be towards the Rift Herald. They are getting gold onto Dockdom though, and that is a really big deal. That does help get them in a position, because if Dockdom and BDD were falling behind, I think the comp just falls flat on its face. But still, the fact that Akali is down almost 900 gold is really rough.
Yeah, not a good spot for BDD right now. That's the major concern. And that fight there, when they were looking for the Dragon, they didn't have the ult for the Zeri or the Nico, so... And also, you look at those two big item spikes that just came in, the Rocket Belt for the Ahri, the Sundered Sky for the Trundle. I feel like that wasn't really the ideal spot for them to take a fight anyway, so I don't think it's too big of a deal that nothing came from that, but I think KT really need a fight to go in their favor soon.
Yep, Dockdom does manage to upgrade his shoes that are only sitting on one item for now. Still with that kill, with the fact that he does have a 10 CS lead, does mean that the Zeri is still the win condition here for KT. We're not certifying it just yet, I imagine. We will get confirmation from Wolf whenever certification time does come in. But I'm
definitely
expecting
not yet.
it's not yet.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
I think we need like a triple at least. Maybe a double in some situations.
Yeah. So that hasn't happened. I'm counting a 1. And that is just for KT in general. As Chovy doesn't find the shove there. Good movement from BDD to avoid it. But still, this Talia, 1,000 gold ahead just by herself. And the fact that GENG has a gold lead at all is basically just Chovy.
This top lane matchup isn't going to get better though. Like Keen, Aatrox is one of those champions where once you reach critical mass of ability haste, you become so obnoxious to play into, right? He's resourceless, and he's going to do more and more damage to Perfect. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up going for Cleaver down the line as well, which would make it even harder for Perfect to just try and stay alive in that lane. And if Chovy gets ahead, even though he is, of course, going for a tanky build because it's Chovy, life does not get very fun for the
Yeah, the fact there's already a giant spell in Chovy's inventory.
Yeah. Ruler now going to have to deal with the kennel as it does pop on down. Docdom is going to back away, though. Does see Dura making his way in. So KT not going to be able to find too much more than an ulti out of Ruler.
Yeah, trying to find an angle, but Dura just moving in top of that cover. And I feel like it's one of those plays where it's just expending resources, trying to see if they can find anything. But KT, we said going into this, coming out of the draft, they needed momentum with his composition. Oh no.
Yeah, there's the flick onto Peter immediately. Gets quickness up though, and the charm is going to hold him in place long enough for that Nico to just have no options.
So that initial play from KT, I think Ruler didn't have flash, so they're trying to see if they could punish the lack of flash. It was still like a 5-second, 10-second cooldown. But then Peter gets punished heavily. Like that he doesn't use his flash or his ultimate. I think they need that for the upcoming fight, so it's not super consequential, except that Chovy is now even further ahead.
Yeah, that's the problematic part. And
Just
they're
right on the
flipping
edge.
it. Yeah.
And then
Body
the follow-up
goes
coming
off.
through. Yep, layers the CC. He gets exploding. It was just a simple walk down there for Chovy to pick it up. He now must have so much gold. And obviously hasn't finished his first item yet. Has kind of been picking up pieces from different items. He's going to be very strong going into this next fight. So a little bit spooky, I feel, for KT.
Completes the Archangels. The Seraph's going to be on the way pretty soon. As Rift Herald has now spawned. Would be feats of strength on the objective department for KT if they can lock that one down, keeping themselves in the race, as it then would be just that first turret, which Rift Herald does help out for. Dura moving in, BDD wanting to backflip his way over this wall, but it's getting dicey. Does get on over. Megacone is going to be there as well as the Rift Herald down to 50% health. KT had already started this one up. Teleport in from Perfect. He's going to have to land this engage if they want to stand a chance. As Canyon goes in, manages to take the Rift Herald here. The knock up onto the Scion, who's being thrown around like a ragdoll, and now Keen finds the back line. The flash over the wall from Perfect, but he's out of the fight. Pop Blossom does nothing at all. And the Weaver's Wall comes in. Perfect somehow actually utilizing it quite well, but it's Azeri that goes down first. Canyon sacrifices himself, and now Chovy is behind enemy lines claiming all the flashes. And that fight was almost 100% GENG.
It looked like GENG had a 4,000 gold lead with how that fight played out. Oh, Shuriken doesn't connect. At no point in that did KT really look like they had any momentum. It felt like they were just running away for most of the time. They find a turnaround kill in the Canyon, but that's really it. For the rest of it was just kite, run, escape, and KT just managed to barely get out licking their wounds, but GENG gets so much for that.
And Duro, that's one of the most aptly named battle dances that I've seen. The way that he sets up this fight on multiple fronts ends up being a really big win. And we said, who kills Keen? As we find out, the answer is no one, as one half of the team deals with Perfect in the back line. Make sure he doesn't get out. Keen is tanking 4 people!
Yep, he just almost one-shots Peter, and then Docdom gets CC'd, and he has to disengage. He just gets killed by Keen. The Boomerang Blade finishes off Peter there. And then, yeah, they killed Canyon in the back, but it just never felt like an actual fight from KT.
Well, we might see another one here, or at least an attempt, as Seismic Shove connects onto Perfect. He is in a lot of trouble. Infernal Chains pull him back in. When becomes Lightning doesn't find the mark here as BDD on a flank angle. Does get that Shroud down. Now Ruler in trouble as Cuz gets on top of him, but Perfect is going to be the first one to go down. Just front to back here from GENG as Ruler claims the first kill. Docdom sliced in half by the full health Keen. And yeah, that problem that you posed earlier, Chronicler, we're seeing the answer is there's nothing. There's no option. As maybe if he's not there, then there's a possible kill on Darula. He's going to be able to avoid the shuriken, but because he's just got a big club, so there's not a lot of outplaying that.
Oh man, that feels so bad. And they get the kill on Arula, but the shutdown goes to the Trundle. It's not the person you really want getting the kill. And I feel like it doesn't really change the state of the game for KT. That fight as well, they went into that without Pop Blossom. They went into that without the ultimate for the Nico. So this fight felt so, once again, really not that impactful from KT. Coach runs up to Rula and just chomps him once, but look what Keen does to Doctam!
Yeah!
He basically just one-shots him and then runs him down, slaps him with that final auto.
And this is what we're seeing, where the issue is. I think it's because BDD just, on this Akali, needs to have a disproportional impact. There's a beautiful sidestep there by Duro. And I think that again goes back to the draft, where last time I was not very happy with what BDD was playing. This time I feel like I'm not super happy with what Cuz is playing. I think Trundle is a very strong champion, but you just can't carry games the way that you can with many others. And Perfect's trying to create space, which I think really is his only job. But like, Akali's not going to go for Keen. Dogdom needs to be in range to do damage, and Keen is already so far at the cleaver is done.
Yeah, no, that's absurd. 2 items have been completed as Chovy drives on in, doesn't find the seismic shove, but they will be able to find this first turret. And GENG, they would have got more feats of strength, but they already had claimed them. And so upgraded shoes already there, a 4,000 gold lead now as well, and they're starting to run away with game number 2, much like they were able to run away with game number 1.
I feel like Keen is just so scary at this point. There is just no solution to this problem.
I think Keen has been scary at any point.
2025.
Particularly at this point, particularly at this specific moment in time.
Yeah.
It's like the spookiest point of the movie.
And yeah, it's spooky as well because there is a hiding Zeri. Is now Chovy going to get knocked up, and that is another kill going over to Doctom. That is a lot of money for him as well, as that's shutdown gold going in. They also get a teleport out of King.
And there it is again. It's the Death Brush. It's just the same play, and it works.
But I think it's the sort of play you definitely need to be making because your 5v5 is just not working right now. So go for these picks, and the gold goes to the right person. This time around, 770 gold went to Doctam, so big influx for the Zeri. Should have second item completed.
Yeah, knock up onto Cuz here as Keen finds the angle, and Subjugate is not going to keep him alive, although it is at least trying. Yeah, tried to make that one work. Sundered Sky, an item not broken enough to save him.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of paddles.
Yeah. Canyon getting to work on this Otacon, and there's going to be no response from KT as they are focusing on taking down this inner turret. Keen looking for the angle here. We'll see how unkillable he actually is.
Very!
As it turns out, yes, entirely unkillable is the answer, as they decide they're just going to instead run away, as the Otacon is just going to be taken for free.
And the thing is, it was going to be a trade, right? Bottom lane, they got the tier 1, they were going for the tier 2. They're like, look, we give up Otacon, but we get a big influx of gold for the Zeri. GENG deny that. Now you're trading that bot lane tier 1 for the top lane tier 1, and you just get Otacon for free, essentially. GENG, 4,000 gold up, 25 petals in pocket as well. Yeah, they're in a pretty great spot.
It's not looking good, gang.
Well, let's just say that
for game 2.
The pedal peddler himself did a lot of business today.
Yeah.
Because as we can see, he sold 25 pedals to GENG.
Well, he doesn't sell them, he gives them out.
That's what a peddler does, though. Doesn't a peddler...
Yeah, but
he pedals.
They have not paid for that. They just pick them up.
They stole them from the pedal peddler?
They are foraging.
They're just very affordable.
I do not recognize...
They're very affordable pedals.
These are pedals that are out in the wild. I do not recognize the authority of the pedal peddler. They can just grab them. And they have.
You really are passionate about flowers.
You don't know anything about land rights?
Very dumb.
No, you can't just go pick things of other people's land and claim them as your own.
But it's Summoner's Rift.
You should have learned from the tulips thing that happened.
Yeah, it's the Summoner's
Oh, hey,
Rift.
don't bring tulips into this, okay? Come on now.
Now, Peter is a summoner, right? So we're establishing that here.
Well, he's the one that summons the pedals, and then GENG took all of the pedals, and so he peddled them to GENG. That was my theory at first, but if that bothers you, Chronicler, it doesn't matter.
I wouldn't say it bothers me necessarily. I just want to ask the relevant questions in the scenario, right?
That's why we pay him the big bucks. And thankfully, he asked the question. Unfortunately, we didn't get a good answer. As Perfect doesn't have a good answer to GENG just popping out of this brush either. Although, Doctum and Cuz moving down might be an option. Duro comes in for a bit of a flank angle as the Runans coming on in means that Doctum does do a fair bit of work.
They got to try.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here. We'll see whether they can find it. The seismic shove connects. And Cuz taken down to below half health already before the fight has even started. And Shuriken backflip not going to connect onto Chovy once again. This dragon down relatively low. We'll see whether they can steal it away because he just can't get in. And it is just going to be secured here by GENG. Now Perfect trying to run away, does break the chains that bind. I just don't know whether that's going to be enough as the wall will be put up. And not going to be followed through on as GENG. They can just back away if they would like to. VOD, good backflip out of the way of Duro here, as now Keen possibly out of position as he does go into that World Ender state, and now the train is going to connect. Pop Blossom onto 2. Can Keen actually die? The answer is no, ladies and gentlemen, because he is just too massive. Cuz going to go down as well, and if you're ever going to kill him, it was going to be there. So for the rest of the game, I think Keen's just immortal.
It was a 10%!
Maximum value for the Sundered Sky at that HP. He just deletes Doctum, and as soon as he's down, the damage isn't there. GENG turn the fight around. An engage from Peter doesn't have the follow-through, and GENG looks like they're going to be winning this game too.
Oh my God, Keen. Okay, well, yeah, I think focusing on what's going to happen in the next game is probably where KT's minds need to be at.
We have a good amount of time.
Yes,
we do.
Which is
absolutely
nice.
do.
I think the thing is, Doctum has the Runans now, which means he hits a lot of people. Not so good at specifically killing Keen, who is he just tanks a lot here.
Watch this.
Gets
Look
low.
at his health bar.
He
No,
then
just
manages
wait.
to find a huge Pop Blossom, and he gets so low, but then look, he just dives on a Doctum with the help of Duro.
Sundered Sky, baby!
Vaulting.
He's full HP again, by the way.
Yeah,
Pretty much, 75%.
Okay, hey guys, it's not just Sundered Sky. He's also Aatrox.
yeah, the Darkened Blade
We
is
knew
not
this-
allowed
we
to have
knew
that
this
item.
From Gore Drinker meta, that you take an item with healing, and you give it to Aatrox, and any problems the item has are just amplified.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it's already a problem on every other champion.
He doesn't even have Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, and they will have Chemtech Soul in 3 minutes' time, most likely,
You know,
as they have a 7.5k gold lead.
This is one of those situations where Chemtech Soul does go pretty hard.
And it was going at, like, oh my God, imagine if they had it for that last fight. Keen may not have actually gotten value because he may not have gotten his health bar down below 50%.
And again, they're a 2-carry team that's about to play into Chemtech Soul with an Akali that's 2.5k gold behind.
Yeah. Well, Canyon and Chovy are going to be able to duo this Baron if they would like to. They are going to call for some help as KT, it's all about the Hail Marys.
No, Keen's there! Get away, KT!
Yeah, unfortunately,
No!
the certification office is now closed, and VOD is stuck inside his blue buff pit. And now Keen looking for a bit of an angle. The solo Pop Blossom comes in. VOD, a bit of burst damage, but the Baron is going to be secured. And KT are just trying to cut their losses. Their losses will be Cuz at least, but Perfect likely to go down as well. Megacone going to be helping out here as Doctum barely avoids the wind becomes lightning, but I just don't know whether that is even going to be enough as he slides over the wall. Canyon taking a bit of damage. But GENG just going to follow these minions towards this inhibitor turret. And man, I think they are looking to close this one out pretty quickly.
This is just looking not even close right now, and there's just no way KG can deal with what GENG are offering. Keen, I just keep seeing these big green numbers.
Guys,
Yeah.
I have good news.
Uh-huh.
13/4, that's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Chronicler.
That's cool, right? I don't have anything gameplay related.
I
don't know if
can't
that's
believe
what
you
you're-
were born on the 13th month.
Well, let me have something! This game is a wash!
Yeah,
As
I
Keen-
needed to add something to add a little bit of drama. There's no drama in this game. This is just GENG destroying KT ruthlessly.
He
All right.
killed like 769, he wasn't even low.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
understand.
It's not fair.
You have the
Not
most
him.
experience with KT.
Uh-huh.
Is this all ramping up to the inevitable reverse sweep?
No. And if I'm as a KT fan,
You have to say no.
I have to say that, no
Damn,
matter what.
expectations are getting really low, right?
Yep. No one is enthusiastic. Let's just say that.
No, don't do it. Guys, you can't beat him. He's too strong.
They need to do something.
Yes,
I imagine
Alex.
that they're just waiting for the game to end. So maybe trying to kill Keen is a good test.
Hey, at least Dr. has Infinity Edge now, so he does some damage.
They have the
3-item
Guardian orb.
spike.
That's something.
That is. They don't have inhibitor turrets. Oh, apart from the top one. That's something. All right, KT, last-ditch effort. We said the last one was a Hail Mary. I don't know what the next level is. I think I got to Hail Mary too quickly because they have another opportunity to do a thing that is like a last gasp. You know, maybe that's what it is. All right, wall is going to be put up. That does get the Trundle out of there, but that is just buying GENG the space to take down this inhibitor.
Canyon's 3 levels higher.
Oh, they're going for it. Let's see whether the raid boss can actually be taken down. They haven't killed the ads though, and unfortunately that means that the raid boss is all that more powerful. You have to do the mechanics. KT is Doctom going to get punished. Goes for a bit of a skate through the turret, but unfortunately he's out of the fight. PDD now looking for a little bit of an angle, but Perfect is going to be torn to shreds. And the Nexus turrets will be next to go down. We won't see the revolting Aatrox with Chemtech Soul because unfortunately the Nexus is going to die beforehand. Duro having a little bit of a party on the fountain.
Canyon, no!
Canyon is tanking up an inner turret for some reason and is still able to kill PDD. Please put them out of their misery, and GENG will. They go to match point here in this best of 5, and I hazard a guess to say that they're looking like the favorites in this series.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. And I think the thing I can say about KT is at least that game is now over.
Yeah.
So we can just move forward, move on.
And they've already qualified to Worlds.
They have. That game was in the past, right?
Yeah.
And reverse sweeps are a concept that we are aware of and has happened. So, you know.
They are still in the series.
Yes.
And they will enter Summoner's Rift one more time.
Yes.
And GENG will have the same goals as them at the beginning.
I think we have to address the biggest difference that we've seen thus far in this series compared to the last. Because obviously, we knew Perfect was going to struggle. I think we've seen Peter also not have the same impact he had in their victories. But the biggest difference is that both Chovy and Canyon are awake. And I think that that is also what has been, to me, what has allowed Keen to carry the way that he did. Because I think that Keen, Ruler, and Duro, to me, look no different than they did in the first series. I think they were playing well back then. I think they're playing well now. Keen is playing exceptional, but let's be real. If Cousin BDD can't carry, it's not happening.
I think also GENG have gone to these comps where it's just straightforward, front to back, easy as anything, and I think KT are making things harder for themselves than it really needs to be.
Well, we'll see whether they can keep it simple, stupid, moving into game number 3. But it's time for us to take a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break that one down, and then we'll have what could be the last game in the series.
이거 정비하고 와도 되긴 해 막말로.
야 니코 야 미드도 봐줄래 이거.
아니요.
어.
야, 여기서 끝내 생각하자.
니코 죽여 일단. 일단 니코 죽여.
야, 끝내 생각하자. 끝내
하게
생각하자.
하게.
바텀레인 몰고 올게.
아 캐리만 막 한다. 캐리 유치 없. 제리 노플 제리 노플. 제리 노플. 안 되겠다. 나 괜찮아. 마크 줄게. 괜찮아. 딜 없어 딜 없어. 나 힐드 돼. 힐도 돼. 깨자. 쫓줄게. 형 사이언 시체. 너 때리는데? 뭐야. 캐리 노플이야. 나 용량 이런 혹시? 뭐야 이거 맞았는데? 에어번이라. 나이스요.